Hello, here we are again, coming into the home stretch. This is number 6 of 7 on the 7 pillars of prosperity. Today we're talking about relationships. Relationships follow hard on the heels of value because value comes out of relationship. So it's very important. It's the source of the value add that we spoke about last week in last week's session. You know, Teddy Roosevelt once said that no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. Uh, I know you've heard that before, so have I. It sounds maybe corny, maybe trite. It is a truism. But the reason they're called truisms is because they're true. This is why we shun hard sellers and the closers. You know, think of a car dealership. You know, that's not the most pleasant experience you're ever going to go through. Never has been for me, at least. I always know when I walk into a dealership, if I'm looking for a car, I got to have my act together because some guy's going to come out and try to sell me the moon. And if he thinks he's having a tough time, he's going to call in the closer, and they're going to push, 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 push. And they're going to give me 37 different ways to finance things, and you know, none of which are going to be to my benefit, but everything is going to be to their benefit. So it's push, 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 push. And it's never a good experience. Well, you know, they can get away with that in a car dealership because typically, pretty much, buying a car is a one-off proposition. They don't expect you're ever going to come back. So, you know, they'll push, push, push. But, you know, you can't sustain a prosperity model in this kind of environment with one-off sales. There just is little or no value beyond the product that's purchased in that kind of an encounter. We may get them, the audience that is, maybe once, but without some kind of value added, we're never going to see them return, or not likely to see them return. We need to be there for our audience. Are we? Or are we a hit and run artist? In what way, we have to ask ourselves, have we shown ourselves to be there for our audience? Do we even have a commitment to being there for our audience? You know, we also have to ask ourselves the question, in what way can our audience rely on us? Why should they seek us out? Well, relationship is why they would seek us out. And that relationship starts with us being consistently available. That's a very good first step. That's what begins to build our commitment to them. Because relationship begins with reliability. We got to be there. We got to be there with things that are of value to them. Maybe a tip here or a word of wisdom there, but they got to get something out of it, or they're not going to return. And you can't blame them. You know, why would anybody waste time with us if they're not getting any value out of it? So, when was the last time that we communicated with our audience? And I mean communicated. I don't mean the follow-up call. That's not really communication. There's an ulterior motive behind that. And, you know, people see right through it. When you get those little magnetic football schedules for whoever your favorite NFL team is, or the the calendars that hang with a magnet on your refrigerator, you know that there's no thought in those. You can buy them by the gross, uh, and it doesn't take any thought. You can tell them what to have printed on there. You just get a gross of them. A gross is usually around 500, and you just start tossing them out. Here's one for you, here's one for you, here's one for you. Not a lot of thought. Not That's not what I'm talking about when I'm talking about communication. I'm talking about something that will actually enhance their lives in some way. If we're making that if we're making that follow-up call, does that really fit that criteria? I don't think so. I doubt very much that that enhances anyone's life. And yet, that's what we're told to do all the time. Follow up, follow up, follow up. Let them know you're there. Keep your face before them. Um, just be there. When I was in real estate, we used to do something that was called farming. And I always hated it because, I knew what I was doing was just dropping a notepad here and a calendar there, or a flyer about something that was just sold by somebody, maybe not even me, in my office. And I was dropping that, hanging it on their gate or pitching it into your yard, their yard. Basically, it was being a litter bug. There just wasn't anything there that was of value to my audience, which was the people in my neighborhood. So, we have to ask ourselves if we're really in our communications adding value to their lives. Do we really have a relationship with our audience, or is it just one of those one-off, wham bam, thank you bam kind of relationships that really doesn't do any good for anybody? It barely does any good for us, and it only is the good that comes from selling a product once. So, we really gotta take a good look at our communications and put some value in them. And the acid test is, what does our audience say about our communications with them? We don't get the vote. They're the ones that have the vote. I can guarantee you this much. You're shooting for failure. I'm not going to say I'm going to guarantee you're going to fail, but you're shooting for failure if you do nothing. Because in the words of Zig Ziglar, if we aim at nothing, we will hit it every time. So, I think we all really need to think about this and think about what we can do to get out of the do nothing mode or the cheap shot follow-up mode and do something of real value. We can only achieve success if we reach out and serve our audience. So what do we got to do? We've got to give of ourselves. We've got to give a tip. We've got to give a word of wisdom. We've got to enhance their lives in some way. We've got to do it early. We've got to do it often. And if we haven't done it yet, we need to start now. Pretty simple stuff. These are not earth-shattering principles that I'm sharing with you, but we don't often put them together in the way that we need to. So just reach out, man. Start reaching out to people. Even if you're faltering like I am right now. This wasn't a perfect broadcast, I know that. I'm not a polished speaker. But you know what? I'm hopeful that the words that I'm giving you are being a help. And that's why I'm here every Tuesday and every Friday, is because I'm hoping that I'm going to give you something of value. So, drop a yes, drop a thank you, drop an aw shucks, drop something positive if you want. Or if you didn't like it, say crapola. Don't do that again. But just let me know you're listening. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. That's all for now. See you on Friday. See you next Tuesday. Have a good week. And Christmas is coming up. You have a blessed Christmas. Just remember, Jesus is the reason for the season. Bye-bye.